Stephanie's asking, how do you know if your goal is reasonable? And how do you also allow yourself to set up bigger goals, like mentally? So one was like, okay, I know I need to be reasonable here, but I also have to set myself up. So people are asking about that range there of reasonableness versus ambition, I would imagine.
One thing I want to preface is whenever we do Q&A, I love this, is like, I feel like the least qualified, like, I just want to point out, like, I mess up in all of these places. So when I give answers at the Q&A, I'm like, yeah, Jenna, tell me more about how you set reasonable goals as you're like trying to do 8 million things. I just want to preface this because it's like, it's so beautiful to be in a place where I get to speak into your life, but I also want you to know that as I'm speaking into your life, I'm like, girlfriend, listen to yourself right now. You need this just as much. So just want to preface. Okay. So reasonable goals. So it's actually been something I've been struggling with. So I'll just share how I'm trying to flip the script on it. Because I'm in the final sprints of preparing for maternity leave, which is 3 months off. So it's a beautiful, beautiful privilege to be able to do that. But it also I find myself with a list of like, whoa, I was very ambitious and I need a nap. So one of the things that I think is so important.
That's the refrigerator quote from the day right there. I was very ambitious,
but I need a nap.
I need a nap.
I love naps. So SMART goals. So this was something I wanted to bring up, and we talked about SMART goals 8 million times. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And truth be told, so much of what I do starts with the end result in mind. And if that end result does not tick all of the boxes of being a SMART goal, meaning I don't have a date on it, I don't have a specific enough like measure of like, is this a yes or no? And so that's been super helpful. I use that literally all the time. Like when I say I want to get X, Y, or Z done, it's like, give me the exact, because I want to be able to say, yes, I did this, or no, I did not. And so SMART goals are just one of the best ways. The other thing though, I think too, is being really honest with what your bandwidth is. I think a lot of times that when we finish the day and we're like, I didn't finish what I thought I would, or like, what did I even accomplish today? Or like we beat ourselves up, is because we weren't realistic about our bandwidth. And so I have gotten in the practice of underestimating what I can do and then trying to like over deliver on that. And I think that comes from a place of like recognizing what my energy is like throughout the different stages of life or pregnancy or whatever it is. And so just getting really clear on that. And then for setting those really big goals, what I want us to do is one, not delay joy. So celebrate along the way, but two, to break up those big goals into really smaller SMART goals. If you have a massive goal, like you want to write a book, like what is the first step? Creating a Word document. Cool. Celebrate that. What is the second step? Typing the first few words. And so it's like, how do we break things down? And then how do we add milestones that we can acknowledge and celebrate along the way? And I think those are the ways to do that.
How can we overcome the fear of succeeding? So what happens when we achieve the biggest goal? And I love this question because it is a lot of a mindset question. And you and I have both had that blessing of, we had no idea that our life would turn out kind of like it has in many ways, even though we worked diligently towards it. The blessings and the privileges have been there. So now the question is, gosh, if you want that next level, but how do you avoid falling to the trap of fear and, you know, overcome that fear of actual succeeding and on all the responsibilities it brings with it?
I've pulled audiences. One of the greatest questions I ask whenever I speak on a stage is like, how many of you are afraid of failure? And everyone's like, yeah. And then it's like, how many people are afraid of success? And it is a massive number of people. True. I would say equal to failure, right? We're afraid of failing. The thing that I think is so interesting is that we are so fearful of celebrating wins or accomplishments or anything, because there's this fear that lies in us that the moment that I acknowledge that this thing is good, it's going to change, or it's going to be taken away from me, or something's going to happen. And I think Glennon Doyle writes about it in her book Untamed, where it's like, we almost get so fearful of even just like saying like, I'm so grateful for this thing, because we're so worried that it's just going to get ripped away. That the moment that we pause long enough to say like, this is good, this is right. And I just like, I have to let that go. I think for me, like, I'm a very sensitive person. I'm very empathetic. I sometimes struggle with being even in the small spotlight that I'm in. I really like, I'm a human being. And it wasn't what I planned, but there are so many beautiful things. There's so much beautiful. If we look at the tree example, like fruit being harvested, some that I know about, some that I don't know about, that make it entirely worth it. But the reason why it's worth it is because the work is aligned with my values. It supports what I want out of life. And I think that when we think about success, a lot of times we almost self-sabotage so that we never have to reach that point to know that feeling because we're afraid that it will change. But the beautiful thing is that when success fits your version of how you want to feel, not just what you want it to look like, it makes living so much richer on so many ways that you will step into the ring over and over and over again, even battered and bruised, whatever that looks like, because your reality is so much more beautiful than the lines on the paper or than the photos on the social media. And so I just think when we get clear about what success really is for ourselves, which I think is the hardest part, success doesn't become scary anymore. It becomes like this fully aligned vision that you get up for every day. And I think it's exciting. Like, I freaking love my version of success because it involves pancakes and it involves no alarm clocks and it involves choice and it involves putting my daughter to bed every night. And like, that's success. And like, that fires me up. I will do that every day of my life.
I got some great questions from the community here I really loved that I'll ask you here. One was from Michaela, who was asking and sharing that she had always been an expert at kind of staying calm, but recently she's learned that that's kind of her denying her feelings to keep everyone else comfortable.
Yep.
Where's the line when dealing with people?
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. So my mom, I don't know if anyone in here is familiar with the Enneagram, but it kind of gives you these personality traits and types. And my mom is the peacekeeper. So we always say, she's the person who you'll ask, like, where do you want to go to dinner to? And she'll say, like, I really don't care. Where do you want to go? And she genuinely doesn't, because she wants to keep the peace. And I've learned that a lot of times that people that are in those roles maybe grew up in more chaos or grew up in a situation where they were the one that set the tone of the energy. And so they've taken on that embodiment of, I'm going to set the tone for everyone else. And I need to show them that I'm calm so they can be calm. And it absolutely can suppress our feelings and our emotions. And I think we can embody something as much as we possibly can, but if we're not feeling it, it's not an actual reflection of who we are or where we are in that moment. And so, the other day I like cried for the first time in a long time. And I was like, I think I just needed to get this out. Like, there's a lot of hormones happening here. But I was like, have I been suppressing this, or did this just kind of escape me at the right moment? And I think what is really important is when you get quiet enough with yourself to check that check engine light of, how am I really feeling about this? How am I really navigating this? Not how are people expecting me to navigate it, but how do I really feel? You're able to trace those emotions. And a lot of times you can uncover past pain or past trauma or past positive experiences that are guiding the way that you're feeling, enough to either course correct or just acknowledge those feelings and allow yourself to feel them. So I think a lot of times we've got to kind of reverse engineer the fact that we're the person that we think we have to set the tone, and allow ourselves to just be a human being and to feel all those things. Just like with Coco, if she's feeling anxious or nervous, it's like, baby girl, feel those things. And then let's see if we've got to work past them, if there's something we've got to unpack here.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.